All right. This is it. This is this is what we've come to. Shit, dog. You know what time it is. It's production breakdown time with Bike Ride. A song by me. Featuring all these elements, which we will talk about, or rather I'll talk about, and you'll listen. I'm gonna get into the nitty gritty. I'm kind of curious, what the fuck is this even doing? I haven't prepared at all. Holy shit. Yeah, let me do some house cleaning real quick. I can tell just at a glance that these belong up here and this belongs here. This is a good use of my time. This is a good use of everybody's time. I could stop recording, but that requires me to press even more buttons. We're over budget on button presses as is, so. All right, well, let me just save that. Cool, I think we're good. Let's get into it. Top down, starting with the vocals. Same deal as always. That's the rundown.
I think we should go out and get some sun. Our days living in darkness should be done.
If you've watched any of my other videos, you may be privy to the fact I like to manufacture vocal harmonies in perhaps an unorthodox way. I don't know enough producers to call it unorthodox.
I wanna ride my bike.
What I do to make harmonies like this one,
I wanna ride my bike.
that sounds weird. I will duplicate the lead vocal track. That's what I did here. And then I'll run it through auto-tune and tune it to a pleasant interval to make it a harmony. So it is in fact the same recording, just layered on top of each other.
I wanna ride my bike with you.
Sometimes you just don't have it in you to record another take. So when you're cutting your losses, a little ingenuity,
And I wanna spend the
and you can make an artificial vocal harmony. It sounds kind of, robotic, I'll admit, but I like that sound. So I'm gonna just say it works for my music. It could work for yours too. If that's your bag. If you're not into that, just record another take, just sing it. That's probably easier. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's less time consuming. A brief overview of what I'm putting on my lead vocals effect-wise.
sunglasses.
Ooh, there's a fun delay. I'm doing a very bad job of going through this song in a linear fashion. Let's talk about what I'm doing creatively to my vocals. The vocals are pretty dry, but because I'm a slut for dynamics and just changing stuff up in the middle of a song for the second verse, all this reverb and delay comes in and makes the vocals a little more sultry.
And I think we should set sail for the beach. California's never out of reach.
Hang on, you're hearing a lot of staticky noises, and those are called underruns because my buffer size is insufficient. So let me just enhance that.
And I think we should set sail for the
Yeah, that helped some. What was I talking about? Yeah, the vocals get more sultry for the second verse.
beach.
Just to kind of lend it a dreamy feel, because it's a dreamy depiction that I'm singing about.
California's never out of reach.
Yeah, I kind of just repeat my old tricks a few more times with the vocals.
Ride with me into the setting sun.
I'm automating the reverb on my vocals here and bringing it up to, it's like I'm singing this last little verse and I'm just drifting away. I'm just fading into the ether. That's what I was trying to do.
Time. Our days in the dark are finally done. But
But I come right back. I went nowhere. I was there the whole time. I deceived you. But that's what music's all about. Or music production, anyway. It's about deceiving the listener. You want to make them feel like a stupid bitch. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wrap up my my discussion of the vocals there. I think I've covered my bases, hopefully. If I haven't, just scream at your phone or laptop and I will stop what I'm doing. Nobody? Alright. Moving on to the drums. We all know how I do drums. Or if we don't, here's how I do drums. I make all my drums from scratch, or in other words, with drum samples. That's how I do my drums. I do them like in FL Studio. This song is no exception. These are fake drums. This is all native FL stuff. This is called FPC. It comes with at least most, if not all, versions of FL Studio. It's just like a drum rack, basically. I'm a big fan of just the presets that it comes with. I mean, it comes with pretty good samples, and like, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to be cutting edge with my, you know, with my hat samples, with the timbre of my hats. Or maybe I am. I don't know. They were new to me when I discovered them, so I used them. Yeah, it's as simple as that. I really like to micromanage my drums. I like to micromanage all my fills and like the mix of my drums and all that jazz. I like to experiment, and it's much easier to do that like on a computer. But you know, you could easily make an argument against that. It's just like the workflow that I've just grown accustomed to. Yeah, I was pretty proud of how the drums on this one turned out. I mean, they're nothing fancy. We start with this preset, you know, drum kit.
Grab your camera, set the speed to fine. Let me show your face to everyone.
And as the verse picks up, I bring in a more meaty kick, a more punchy dancing kick. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Let me see what sample I'm using specifically. A vinyl kick, so to speak. It's from some sample pack I picked up at some point in the past. I just layer those hip-hop samples on top of the real drums. The result is pleasing to me. It's closer to like how drums sound in like pop music, you know. It's just what I'm into. Guilty, you know. It's guilty pleasure. I can talk about ghost notes, and any drummer knows what ghost notes are. Or maybe that's not what most people call them. That's just what I've heard them called. And since I'm trying to think like a drummer here, do some very organic things with my fake drums. These boys right here, just like super quiet. I don't know. It's just a little touch that that you put in there. I'm only highlighting this to just emphasize that it's just like little details like that I feel like go a long way if you're not working with an actual drummer, if you're just trying to replace one with a computer. Not that I'm trying to replace anybody. Shit, dog.
Cruising by the blue.
This fill is just called shit. I don't think it's shit. I guess I wasn't sure. The way a double-handed snare slap down looks when you're drawing it on a computer. It looks like this. You got two little hits here, super close together with slightly different velocities. Same deal. See, I'm thinking. I mean, like, if I was drumming to this song organically for this listen what happens.
And I wanna ride my bike with you.
You just gotta
Cruising by.
You just gotta do that. Having fun with my toms.
Take on the world, no strings attached. Let's get out of Nash.
If I'm doing a seminar on how to produce fake drums, it's just all about little touches. Yeah, you can't micromanage drums like I do unless you're making them from scratch. Love this moment. I love this moment.
Yes, I do. Take on the world, no strings attached.
It's just so satisfying. Ugh, I love that. This song has some of my favorite drums in the whole album, just because I had a lot of fun with all these fills and little moments. I wasn't like trying to channel MGMT, but I feel like this is a very MGMT sounding drum fill. Alright, well, I mean, that concludes my breakdown of the drums. That only means bass is next. This was the first song on my new album, Living the Pipe Dream. I tracked bass guitar on, because halfway through the album, I decided I wanted to just learn how to play bass and start recording it instead of using synth bass for everything. I'm very glad I did, because this song was begging for it. Nothing fancy. I go direct in. And if you know anything about how I produce, that would not surprise you. I use Guitar Rig for all my effects. So, you got some fuzz on there, you got some compression, you got some bass pro, and then a matched cabinet for your bass pro, because who stops a bass pro? Then my EQ on the bass looks like this. Much more conservative than what I expected. The way I EQ a lot of things is ridiculous, with like stuff like all over the place. Not today. I'm just doing a slight reduction here, and then it just gets compressed an ass load. I think you can be very, very liberal with your compression on like bass. Don't take my word as law. I'm just saying, like, bass guitar, it mostly just like brings the sustain up. When you compress bass a ton, it, makes it more consistent. I'm not like trying to make my bass super dynamic. I want it to either be like on or off. Compression really makes it happen. It is a mixing tool. This is old news. This is day one. This is kindergarten shit. I don't think I have a single song, maybe one song on the album that isn't like this, but I always sidechain my bass. It undergoes sidechain like this, and it's being triggered by the kick. I'm probably just gonna make a video on this specific technique if anybody wants like an in-depth explanation. In fact, I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you want me to explain how I do my sidechaining in FL Studio, if literally one person asks for it, I will do it. So let me know. I don't want to be, redundant, or I don't want to be dry. So I'm just gonna keep moving. But sidechain's very important to a mix, to mix clarity. Ooh, love those moments. Threw one in right here. That is a remnant from before I recorded bass guitar. That is just a synth that just more or less seamlessly blends in with the bass guitar. I think I forgot to play that when I recorded the bass, but I still wanted it in there, so I just left this. I think it's just a sign, basically, more or less. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to get away with that. That was cool. I'm just assuming I got away with it and like nobody noticed. I would be very surprised if you did. I didn't notice until I visually saw it with my eyeballs. This, and maybe Used to Feel Good, I don't know. This is one of the more like bandy sounding songs. It's just like a slightly different approach. Usually when I record anything, and this is just the way I do stuff, I like to know exactly what I'm playing, like what I'm gonna play. I don't love to improvise when I'm actually recording, just because I get performance anxiety as soon as I hit the record button. I'd rather it just be muscle memory by the time I go. But with this song, I like really gave myself some freedom and just did some random stuff with the bass here. Like this. Or it just kind of slides up like that. It was a beautiful moment that I made up pretty much on the spot. It's just direct in, guitar rig, and compression. That pretty much sums up the bass on this song. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up bass and move on to guitar. Yeah, that's what you're here for, isn't it? You guitar fiends. So the guitar starts like this. This is just direct in with some EQ that looks like this, and then compression and reverb. It's a super clean tone. It's got the super short delay on it. just to put it more in a physical room. Super short delay kind of does that. Yeah, that other guitar, also me, same guitar. Only difference is there's some distortion on it via guitar rig. But I was definitely trying to like put the second guitar somewhere else in the mix, trying to separate it. I did want to put it, push it back a little bit. I brought the volume down a little bit and put a ton of reverb on it. The EQ on this guitar looks like this because I was trying to kill some nasty resonant frequencies. You can hear it when I turn it off. It's like... it's not like dramatic. Oh, that one's pretty bad. I'm just trying to like get rid of all the harsh noises. I kind of go through all my guitar recordings and do this before I'm done, usually. Just try and figure out where shit is resonating so I can nip it in the bud. I want it to be as pleasant to listen to as possible. What am I using to do this? Some crazy preset, probably. Arpeggio delays, the Guitar Rig 5 preset arpeggio delays. That and some stereoization action happening there. Super dreamy. If you've been watching up to this point, then you know this is the dreamy verse. Same thing happened to the vocals, basically, it's happening to this guitar.
Think we should set sail for the beach. California's never out of reach.
I'm really just referring to the delay on the vocals, but you know what I'm talking about. Something weird that I did. I just wanted this one hit to be bigger. I recorded just one more take of me hitting that chord, just to layer it with what was already there, and it goes away right after, but just so that one moment just comes in a little more heat. Let me talk about the acoustic real quick. I've recorded this guitar with a bi-directional microphone. I was probably pointing at the 12th fret, and with the other side of the mic just pointing like at a wall or something, so you get more of the room tone when you do that, and that's what I wanted. It just makes it sound a little less stale. Yeah, all I'm doing is just EQing it and taking out more of the bass than I would if it were a more prominent instrument. I'm really only concerned about the mids and the treble here. Just kind of want it to like exist on top of everything. Honestly, the acoustic guitar was complete afterthought, but I'm super glad I did it. This solo is kind of funny to me. It was originally a synth solo. I mean, I wrote the synth melody first. I wrote it like this. I remember making that. I was at work when I did it. It was like the end of the day and I'd finished everything I needed to finish. And I just had 10 minutes and I just threw that down real quick and I really like that. Eventually I decided I wanted to add a guitar layer to it, and figuring out how to play this on guitar. I mean, it's always interesting when you start with something that you compose, in my case with my mouse in FL Studio. It's always interesting to try and transpose that to guitar. I had to do weird things with my hands that I wouldn't normally do to play this melody. But it all worked out in the end. All the guitar is mostly panned to like the sides very hard. So I want to make as much room for the vocals as possible. Vocals and the bass and the drums almost exclusively are taking up, you know, the center, and all the guitar and most of the synths are panned pretty hard to the sides.
No, I wanna ride my bike.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a cap on the guitar, and let's finally get into the synths on this song. I'm gonna be honest with you, they're pretty creative. Synthy time here. This is 3x OSC, or 3 oscillators. Native FL synth goes way back to like the first version or versions of FL Studio. Very simple, very crude. I was trying to emulate the sound of an omnichord. If you know what an omnichord is, you know what an omnichord is. It's hard to describe, look it up. It's like a synth harp thing, and sometimes they sound like this. And I didn't have one on hand, but my old roommate has one, and I really thought it was cool. And I was just picturing that here, so I just recreated the sound of it with 3XOC. The pads here are... That must be Omnisphere. It's not. It is Harmer, not Harmless. Not to be confused with Harmless. It's just a very vintagey sounding pad here to bring it home for us. And there's somewhere the cutoff on these pads is being automated down. So they're kind of going away, they're getting more calm, more still.
Dark.
And they come back.
I wanna ride my bike.
It just kind of lulls you in to the dream, the facade that this song is based off of. And that's where the chorus starts. So you just come in with this soaring high note, which is a metaphor for the soaring high you feel when you're in love. Yeah, they're not doing a ton of work here. I'm just adding some colors in the middle of the chorus. Big change on the second chorus, because I really like to distinguish my choruses from each other. I don't like to just repeat an identical piece of music 7 times like Pharrell. I don't do that. I feel like the instrumentation at least has got to change slightly. You add something, you take something away. There's a lot happening here. Yeah, all these extra synth layers that come in on the second chorus. If I'm gonna be like thematic about it, I feel like it makes the second chorus like more insistent. Like I'm even more sure about it. I don't know, it's like more compelling. Also, it doesn't hurt that the second chorus is twice as long as the first one. What a divine square. It's just a square with a ton of reverb on it, and I love it. This pad comes in for the first time right here in the middle of the solo, just to really take you away. This plugin is called Sakura. I've talked about it a couple times. And it's so cool. It is just delectable, especially when you just got those super slow pitch bends. Yeah, it's pretty heavy in the low-mid region because that range was pretty devoid of music. So I brought this pad in to help sweep you away. At this point in the song, I tricked the listener into thinking that it is over. I'm afraid I'm disappointing people when it comes back for more. surprise, you know? The bike ride has only just begun. Looking at what I've done here, you may be noticing I like let the synths drop out. A lot of things drop out for some of these moments where the drum fills come in. I'm just trying to like jerk your head over here like, whoa, and the synths come back and it's like, and you're like, oh. Let me know if it's working. I'm just like throwing everything at the wall here on this last chorus. There's some pretty busy, you know, piano melodies here. These synth chords get really fat. They're like suspended. I hold on to those chords until the very, very end here just because I don't like to give everything away up front. Damn. I think that covers it. I feel like I did a less than adequate job explaining a lot of stuff, but maybe that's just like my mood right now. If I did, please let me know. I will clarify anything that I glossed over. This is one of my favorite tracks, like production wise. This was the first song on the album that I was like, this is done. Way before the rest of them. I produce in a very slap happy fashion. And sometimes it doesn't work out. But in this case, it did work out, like on the first try. Like I just made all the right decisions the first time. I'd be happy to explore it further if need be. But for now, I'm gonna sign off. Thanks as always for watching. If you are, thanks for doing that. Stay floppy, dog. Toodles.